bought a $39 bike from Goodwill, and it just looked different. I got a bike for $39 at Goodwill, and I thought I'd do an Ironman because that is logical. Anyways, so what is an Ironman? Well, it is 140.6 miles. So it's basically like a road trip, but without a car or AC. But now you swim 2.4 miles, and then you bike 112 miles, and then you run 26.2 miles. Yeah, it makes sense. Why did we do it? I don't know. But sometimes in life you just do crazy things, and God puts them on your heart for some reason. Anyhow, so here's the deal. The swim is in the Tennessee River. That is fairly fast and forgiving, which I cannot drown, but that's about as good as a swimmer as I would say I was. Visibility is 2 to 3 feet depending on the day. The bike is a 3-looper roller coaster with one hill that personally attacked me 3 times. And then the run, it was hotter than we were hoping. I think it averages around 81 degrees. On that day it was 85. And then you throw in the humidity, it's a good time. And so the bike itself, I found it at Goodwill, and it was funny because I'd get comments even on the course itself about, whoa, there's a classic Specialized, and I was like, I thought that was kind of cool, like I'm driving a classic car, but I think it was more to poke fun at me. But you know what? Whatever. And it was funny because on the uphills, I could climb at a pace that was quicker than everybody because I didn't have as many gear ratio. And on the way down, everybody passed me. But again, I finished. That's what mattered. Other athletes had carbon wheels and fiber. I had optimism. So, and training, I trained for the hills. I would purposely find the hardest hills that I could so that when I came to one on this Chattanooga course, I could accomplish it. And I did even Specialized. I told them afterwards that I used one of their old bikes, did great for me. They actually sent me some water bottles and a Specialized shirt, which is pretty cool. So I'm kind of sponsored, I don't know if that makes me a pro athlete, but maybe Specialized, you'll hear this. And my family, side note, we're going on a national park trip next year, so we could use some new bikes. So here's the heart. Takeaway number 1, this Ironman was crazy, right? I did begin not knowing exactly what I was getting into. I don't know why I didn't think that biking would be too much, but that is the largest portion of an Ironman, just by percentage wise. I think they say around 70%. And I trained with, I had some knee pain and some back pain, but I was able to change my mindset in a way where, Caleb, you're strengthening yourself. You know how the body works. You're a stinking doctor of physical therapy. Trust the process and that adaptation. And so just being aware of my alignment, not letting my body compromise itself in its postural and position as the miles would wear on made a big difference. But it was just really neat to see how those pains went away and I became stronger. And I could finish 112 miles on a bike, get off and run. Absolutely no issues. So that was really cool. Consistency is key, or consistency is king. Eating, sleeping, and training. Before Ironman, I'd skip lunch or maybe not do breakfast. I had to learn adult bedtimes, which wasn't very fun. I liked staying up later and wasting my time on the screen like you're doing. And well, hopefully this isn't a waste. But and then training, hour a day. Saturdays would be longer. But anyhow, packing that all in and figuring out how to do it in a way consistently has made a huge difference in my health in general. Definitely had doubts. I think what once felt impossible initially became not just maybe I can do this, but no reason I can't do this, because I surrounded myself by others who believed in me, training, researching, putting in the time and the effort. My confidence just grew and grew and grew, where I knew I could do this. It wasn't a question of, can I do this? So that was really cool. And then cost, that was an interesting one. You sign up and it's like, wow, it's $1,000 right there. I think it's like 900 and some dollars for the Ironman registration. So that's hefty. But my cost was around $3,500, give or take a little bit. Let's just say $4,000. I would say the average cost people spend that I knew, 10, 12 plus. So, I could have even saved a little bit more, but I was already pushing it. Yeah, I got a $39 bike from Goodwill. So that gives you an idea of the kind of person I am. But again, it is possible, but I didn't want to risk my health or an injury by sacrificing too much. Swimming became a strength. Like I said, I couldn't swim, but that became my most enjoyable part of the triathlon, probably because it was the shortest, but still, I felt most at peace when swimming. And then again, huge support group around me made a big difference. My wife, couldn't have done it without her. Saturdays were a big sacrifice. Those were my longer training days. I did have one day of rest, but I trained 6 days a week for the most part. And then I trained smart, not long. Those are some good things that I did. And then what would I do differently next time? The bike gears would be nice to make the hills a little bit easier. My family was there to support me all the way through, but I had a hard time finding them when I was on the course. I was just typical man, just narrow-minded and focused on just finishing. But we could have done better at planning where people would have been. But, first time, and you learn a lot. So, a lot of questions I would get. How did you do it with 4 kids? Again, being intentional, being very methodical in how I train, discussing it with my wife, letting my work even know that, hey, I'm training for an Ironman, so I'm going to be more intentional with all my time. Staying motivated. I had a brother that did it with me, even though he was in a different state. It was good to just bounce off the highs and lows. And I think that's about it. But yeah, it was more than a race. It was proof that a calling inside you wakes you up when you move toward it. And that was something I've always wanted to do. And I've always been a person that doesn't like people who talk about things they want to do but never do them. It's a huge peeve of mine, pet peeve. And so if there's something that you feel called to do and you're good at, or maybe you're not good at it, but it's just something inside you is pulling you towards something, you need to go for it. It is difficult, but it is possible to achieve things that you just may at first seem impossible, but again, with a lot of training, a lot of prayer and support, it's cliche, but it's amazing what the body is capable of doing. So yeah, that's kind of it. I don't think I have a whole lot else to say other than, yeah, we are the Colliers. I want to post more videos. It's just kind of a new channel here. And this one's kind of related to what we're doing, but the reality of what we're trying to do is start a new YouTube channel and get support, interest, in doing the next thing that I feel we're called to. And that is to go on a national park trip across the country next year. So I think it's around 6 weeks trip that will be taken. I've already got it plotted out. That'll be in other videos. And then some other big kind of life-changing decisions in regards to just jobs and land and leaving a legacy for my boys. So we're excited about what the future has, but just kind of getting started on this journey. But this Ironman was just it's good for me, but hopefully it's good for you, to encourage you to go after whatever it is that you feel led to do or is on your heart. Again, hence the name of the YouTube channel, Call Your Wild. It is to go and be bold for that wild calling that you may have and that you will only have, because I believe everybody has been made specifically for a purpose, because we're all so different, but we're also unique and beautiful in our own ways. And to not use what God has given you is probably one of the saddest things in life. So it's a beautiful thing to see somebody using and doing what it is that they've been called to do. And it doesn't have to be anything glamorous, but just seeing somebody in their element, it's a beautiful thing. So that's kind of what Call Your Wild is about. I've rambled too much, but I think that's about it. If you want any more, if you have any questions or comments, please leave them below. I could talk about the Ironman for probably an hour, but there's a lot to cover in just the Ironman in and of itself. But those are some short snippets of kind of what I learned through the process. And yeah, look forward to doing it again in 5-10 years when the wife lets me. Right, honey? No, she's not here. All right, peace.